Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and this is a real historic day. It's my Pans and Plans, and today on Thursday, April 7th, we are seeing now that Ketanji Brown Jackson is the first African American woman, and what a woman she is, to be a Justice of the United States Supreme Court. So this will be a date that goes down in history. She got passage through the confirmation through the Senate with 3 Republicans. We have Collins and Murkowski and Romney voted for her. I certainly wish there were more. You know, there were Republicans who had voted for her confirmation in past times, but didn't want to vote for her this time. But that's okay. We have her now on the Supreme Court, and the American public endorsed it as well. About 60% of Americans, which is one of the largest majorities in in history. So we're very happy that she is on the Supreme Court as of today. Barack Obama made his first trip back to the White House since he was president of the United States, to make an important change that the current president is making, Joe Biden, in the Affordable Care Act. There was a problem we called it the family glitch. Well, 200,000 that will get that can get coverage now, and over 1 million that will see their prices lower for the health care that they have. So this correcting this glitch after some delay, 4 years of a different administration, and so he came back to celebrate that with President Biden. So they were able to welcome Barack Obama back to the White House for the first time. When it comes to Ukraine, there have been some developments right now. We in the House of Representatives passed the Ukraine War Crimes Act. Negotiations, I understand, are still going on between the 2 presidents of Ukraine and Russia. But what we have seen in the atrocities that occurred, some really unbearable visions on television of the war crimes, the deliberate murders that have occurred, have absolutely been the kind of things that can keep you up at night to see. So this was very important. And the United Nations now has voted to remove Russia from the Human Rights Council. That was certainly a great need. And the House of Representatives officially now has passed, now that the Senate has done it, to prohibit Russian oil and other petroleum products, that we won't spend any money on that, and to eliminate the special trade relationship that we have with Russia. So, we're still hoping that we're going to see that maybe there can be an off-ramp for Russia, and that we can end the terrible situation that we are observing every day on television. I just want to say, too, I want to thank the foreign correspondents and the journalists that are bringing that, because they are risking their lives as well. And it's important for the whole world to see that even in 2022 that this is happening. You would think it would be unthinkable at this date. It really is unthinkable. So this week we had a hearing with 6 of the major leaders, mostly the CEOs of the big oil companies. Now, I am on the Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee that had invited them. I'm not the chairman of that committee, but I am on that subcommittee. And I was hoping I was going to see them. But actually, all 6 of them decided to be remote, do it from their homes or business offices, whatever. I thought if they had the guts to show up, it would have been even a more impactful hearing. But the hearing was about price gouging at the gas pump. That was the name of the hearing, and I had a lot to say about that too, because the oil companies made a decision rather than to release more oil that could have allowed, and they had the power to do that, to bring prices down. They made a different decision that essentially was about price gouging, that they would increase their profits, that they would have what we call stock buybacks, which benefit the companies and the shareholders, that would increase shareholder dividends, nothing to help the American people. And in the meantime, and this was my question to them, do they think still that they should get literally billions of dollars from the American taxpayers in tax breaks, that we should give, no, that tax subsidies, that we should give them money? Well, they were saying that money is being used to talk about renewables. A number of them did. I thought it was interesting. A number of these oil companies, the biggest ones, the BPs, the Exxon Mobil, that they talked about all the things that they're doing for renewables. But actually, that's not what those subsidies are, in fact, about. It's more about drilling. And we don't want to see more drilling right now, but they could have just released more gas. And they actually get some exclusive subsidies that other businesses don't have. Although they deny that, they want an equal playing field, is what we heard. So not only the billions of dollars in subsidies, but what we know is that the American people, in fact, 80% of Americans believe that the chief reason for gas prices going up is the gouging, that they have just decided to make more money. I introduced a bill a while ago called the COVID-19 Price Gouging Prevention Act. But I said at the hearing that I'm going to extend it past the time of COVID to make sure that we do something about price gouging, which, by the way, not only exists at the pump. We see it also in the pharmaceutical industry. We see it at the grocery store. We see it on just regular consumer products, that those prices have gone up, but certainly at the pump as well. But there was a poll taken, and about 80% of Americans agree that there really ought to be a windfall profits tax. The vast majority of Americans think that the major cause, and they're not stupid, for this increase in prices, we can blame it on the oil companies themselves. So we brought up a number of those issues at this hearing. It is not a legislative hearing. It wasn't really about the bills that we're going to pass. It was about just focusing light on the fact that the oil companies' activities are raising our price at the pump, gouging. This week, we also passed a bill to expand the Restaurant Revitalization Act, which passed in the American Rescue Act, because about 170,000 restaurants who were eligible to receive funding, the funding had run out. And so this will help these small businesses. We're not going to let any of the big, large chains get in. It's all going to go to the small businesses. Yes, people are coming back to restaurants, but a lot of them still need help in our local communities. So we're going to do that. And we're also going to extend the funding for the venues, the shuttered venues, to make sure that all of those venues are going to have the money too. So we really want to help the small businesses and the major institutions in our district to be able to have the funding to keep going. We're not quite done with this crisis. I introduced a bill this week called the Pharmaceutical Research and Transparency Act. The pharmaceutical companies like to claim the reason that they have to charge so much is because all of the money they spend on research and development. Actually, that's simply not true. The vast majority, especially of the early R&D, you pay for, taxpayers pay for. And the pharmaceutical companies don't want to share with us the information on how much are they actually spending on research and development. And we want to make sure that they don't include in research and development the cost of how they can market their drugs, which has happened in the past, maybe it's happening still now. So we want real transparency because we know that this is just an excuse. It is not true that if we don't give them the money that they need for research and development, that will stop all innovation, all new drugs. No, not at all. Talk about price gouging. That's what we see with the pharmaceutical companies. And, we know that even in 2022, we saw over 500 drugs have their price go up. And so, I've been trying to hold Big Pharma accountable for a long time. And it's time that we get the truth out of them. I wanted to remind you once again, in what we call a blackout period, unless you are subscribing to Pans and Plans and that you're on my website, that you won't be able to get all this updated information every week. So please do that. It's on my website. You can subscribe and want to see you do that. So coronavirus has captured some real celebrities, you might say, in the political arena this week. Nancy Pelosi this morning tested positive. She was about to do a press conference. All the reporters were waiting, and of course that didn't happen. She was also about to chair a trip to Asia. You can imagine all the planning that goes into an 8-day trip with members of Congress, canceled, of course, this morning. We also saw that the Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, is tested positive, and the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, has tested positive. We also saw that there was an increase in cases in Illinois. It's still down from what it was, but it's higher than it has been in several months, about 2,000 cases today for COVID. So the newest variant, which is not, you don't get very sick apparently from it. Although I have to tell you that my son-in-law and now my daughter has tested positive. My son-in-law is not feeling so great. Is supposed to be pretty mild, but very contagious. So again, keep your mask in your pocket at least, so that if there's a challenging situation. I was just on a crowded elevator. I looked around. I said, no offense to anyone in this elevator, I'm putting on my mask. They said, no offense taken. I was the only mask wearer. So, take a look at your surroundings and wear a mask when you think you might be compromised in any way. So I'm glad to talk to you today with this good news about our new Supreme Court Justice. And I wish you a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.